Right, yins guys, here's another video. Some shit I've been meaning to talk about for a while. And then first off here about this subject, I am all for all the shit where they're making different medicines out of marijuana, derivatives from marijuana for that's actually been working on these people with seizures. There's some even young kids with seizures and everything, and they don't have some kind of medicine, it can kill them. And well, there was another thing I talk about in parentheses, not of full length, but I still support the idea if you don't want to use no medicine, uh, you have a right to do that, and I think it's important to protect your rights. And I want to use this video to talk about, yeah, there's going to be, even though, yeah, a lot of us have friends that, even smoke marijuana, or if they're busted for it or whatever, for one joint or something, they want to roll back the penalties of people just, for personal use. I don't even give a shit if somebody in their own life, we all have friends like that. Uh, there's some people that go beyond marijuana, and some of them may have drank or smoked too much, but some of us had even friends now and then on the street that like were bums. You don't do what they do, but we're smart people, and they say some pretty good shit when you just like you had in common with some of them. They looked at people like the late George Carlin when he talked about funny shit in government. But I'm using this video to basically talk about how yeah, you can be all for the medicinal marijuana and all that, and they want to legalize it for recreational use and all that stuff too. But how even not all of them, but I had incidents where you're going to have more of this type of gang stalking going on. And I'm not going to say everybody just because they want legalized marijuana for recreational because they're sick or whatever, or like this. But there are some that there's going to be a new marijuana mob, and it's going to be gang stalking going on politically. Because just like anything, like antidepressant drugs or whatever the hell that's very big now, people profit big time. $1 million business. It's going to be big business with the legalized stuff now because your states, know they can't control a lot of these different drugs. So marijuana, some of it does work, but then you're trying to be fair with some people, and even friends that you don't even bother with what they do. But you're called, even some of the people that are nice to your face, you're called selfish, or you're accused of not caring about the sick, or some of them that are sick will play games with you. I've talked about this videos before that I didn't label as gang stalking videos. There's shit that you're not allowed to say. Like your friends that are nice to your face, there's things that you're not allowed to say, that you're not allowed to be proud of yourself for just not needing anything, not needing any kind of drugs or any kind of thing, or refusing them. So you have some of these friends that'll be passive aggressive. They act like they accept you, and you accept them for who they are. But then a little bit at a time, they start getting with some of their friends and saying shit like they're talking to each other, but like they're talking about you, like as if how people do that in workplaces, talking about you as if you're not there, not saying it straight to you, saying to each other, dropping hints, passive aggressive hints, like I'm talking about a culture of shaming it's like gang stalking. And I have my own stipulations about gang stalking. There's some people that go really overboard, I know, but whether it's legal, even back when I was in fucking high school and people in colleges now, there's a culture of shaming. People that act like they run things, like you have to worship the drug daddy no matter where you're at. You're not allowed to live your own life, even though you have friends that do this and that. And occasionally you have these friends that maybe smoked a little pot, took a little pills, but they get harassed too because they don't party enough or do like enough of it. Like you always got that friend that was that bum that like pretty smart guy. So yeah, he does this and that, and he pretty alcoholic, smokes and then smokes a little pot and says, "Yeah, I do this and that, but I'll never go over here because so and so got beat up over there." There's a culture of passive aggression, and in some of your towns, you know, people will give you dirty looks, and if you refuse to buy or subscribe to pot, if you're just a person minding your own business, you don't care what somebody else does. There's an innuendo in some of like your larger cities, for example. You could get beat up or shot, even if you're a person that's minding your own business and you don't spend your money, you know, on enough of the drugs or whatever. And with the legalized drugs, it's going to all change. Your state governors and different people who they want to appear to be very compassionate, and I think some of them are, because I'm all for it. If you're in pain, give them whatever they want. If you're in constant pain, there's some people that even birth defects, okay? And even though I can't stand some religion, I have terms which I have certain things I believe spiritually, and then I have a mixture of belief that's a mixture of I have a lot of theories, I'd say, and a lot of that I get accused that certain of the religious fanatics don't like me because I'm doing my other kind of stuff that I do on YouTube. Oh, it's considered demonic and all that, which that's another story. But then you got the other side, okay, that the people that want the marijuana and a profit for that or the antidepressants or anything, some of them care about the sick, but some of them, they just want to be worshipped, okay? It's just, and anybody politically, even though they're not politicians, if they're from the politician down, profiting from the marijuana, don't think for 1 minute that any of them have any respect for you if you just don't buy any of it. Even though you support it if people are sick, there's an element out there that I'm not even an out there conspiracy theorist, but there's actually proof that how you get passive aggression from different people, that everybody is getting to a point where there's more and more people that are considering themselves sick, and you're being egged on to consider yourself sick, whether it's legalized stuff for recreational, legalized for medicines, which I'm all for. And then now come, you know, you got these antidepressants. Everybody has to be on meds. It's on the increase. But yet in some of my beliefs, slightly spiritual, even though I don't get along with every Christian and every occultist, I'm a mixture of both. I do believe somebody somewhere made us, and then there was a fall, okay? And there was a corruption, which some of us live longer, some of us are athletically better. I may eventually have walking around like some of my friends around me that with a cane eventually, who knows when, but there you could be born with a birth defect. I believe there was a fall somewhere. Somebody made us, and there was a corruption, and so, you know, whereas like some of us are luckier than others, okay? I believe that too. But then there's still another element that what if certain sicknesses are on the rise? Some of them are. Some, which is kind of all kinds of sicknesses. But even with that, I still believe that they're egging a lot of people on to be sick, and you can argue too that if you walk around too proudly and you don't consider yourself sick or mentally ill some kind of a way, or if there's a thing that I even saw on the Henry Rollins video called Everything, you know, if you're not addicted to something, somebody will come there to make you addicted, or however that is, you know, I mean, but you're considered a bad person for not being addicted to anything. Your people, everybody up from state governments to everybody that profits from that, they don't have to give a fuck about you now. When every single state governor, if they're all for the people, they claim that they want to look noble. Okay, and I'm not saying that some of them they don't have some compassion somewhere along the line, but now since politically it's good for them to legalize everything recreational and everything that's medicine for everybody that's sick. If you don't consider yourself on the bandwagon, if you don't go on the bandwagon of being perpetually sick, your state politicians and people that endorse all this shit under the premise of having compassion for the sick, you're considered that you don't have compassion for the sick and you're a person, your whole lifestyle hurts their feelings. They don't have to give a fuck about you. That's going to be the new drug mob, the new marijuana mob, the new, you can argue that it'll be the new narco-communist state, but we may not be a total narco-communist state. We can be a kind of a narco-democracy. I mean, no different than a bunch of school kids. If you're walking on, hey, if you're like I said, I get along with some Christianity and some not, but you can be the Christian that ain't one of them assholes out there that's just minding their own business, cares about family and all that. Not a fanatic. If you're not a Christian fanatic that's attacking every single buddy, and you don't believe that, every single person even though they're a good person, if they don't know Jesus Christ, they're no better than a rapist or a serial killer. Say you're not one of those assholes, and you just want to stay out of it, have your safe space and stay out of it. Yes, you can be a Christian and be minding your own business, or even some person on the secular side that doesn't subscribe to all that secular garbage out there. That I'm a firm believer too, that you got a really extreme Christian humbleness that you're expected to be falling on your knees in prayer on an altar. Oh my God, I'm such a sinner, and all that. There are people that fall into that in the church, not even earnestly repenting of their sin. They want that attention. You're required, to be a sheep in a religion, and be broken. You're not allowed to walk around too proud, but all the rest of the people with the fancy cars in the church, they're allowed to walk around privately, and they're allowed to walk around real proudly, but you're not. They can decide who gets to walk around all proudly. Their relatives are allowed. But then in the secular humbleness, you're required to worship the drug daddy. You're not required to be smart or strong. It can turn into, since now the legalization of certain drugs being endorsed by states and everybody profiting from it, now all your people on the streets that can heckle you or whatever, unlike some bums that are your friends or different people that smoke a little of this and that to your friends, you get these older people that were like school kids back when you were in school. You're heckled on the street or harassed, or in some of the towns where, you don't even smoke a joint or whatever, you can get beat up for that. All those people are going to move over into politics because they're all voting for the politicians that are voting for that, right? You can be considered an enemy of the state. You walk around too cocky. You have money in your pocket. You spend it on food at a restaurant. Like us, as I used to live across the street from a restaurant, the first thing I did, the smell of food tempted me. Fuck people's marijuana. I don't give a fuck, Or I didn't buy nobody's pills or whatever. And there was a place around the corner, a cafe around the corner, serves beer. It's not a bar, but a beer with a fish sandwich. I wasn't even a beer person on the bar stool to sit there to get drunk, in some of these other places. I get sick if I eat too much of that. So there you go. It's I think that there's going to be a lot of this gang stalking going on, and there's going to be all your people that, even if you're watching this video and you smoke a little bit of marijuana, you do some pills, but you don't get into all these other drugs. Hey, if you're watching this video and you're one of the people, you don't party enough, or you don't smoke enough, or you don't go to so-and-so's party, you don't buy enough of their shit that you can, or if you're a person watches that is totally clean and quit, I said shit in videos before, you can be gang stalked because people don't, there's people that, if you used to do this and that, they don't want you to be freed. They're losing revenue. And matter of fact, in some other countries, the people that are dealing that shit, you get harassed, you can get beat up or even shot or whatever. So now with all that, there are some people that you can have passive aggression, verbal thuggery, and not always necessarily physical thuggery against you, because you can be a person minding your own business and you don't buy any of the shit. You can literally be a person just walking around minding your business with money in your pocket, and just because you don't want to be sick like you're going to be required to be, and you're not a buyer of, you're not subscribed to the new mob that sells all that, the very people that are friends next to you, some of them, not all of them, that are actually sick and buy it. Like in my experiences, the people that are sick that you know that buy the stuff because it's medicinal, you get passive aggression from some of them, not all of them. It's considered, your people are going to start shaming you. It'll come in form of shaming, you know what I mean? You're afraid you're not going to be socially accepted. And then, gradually verbal thuggery, verbal intimidation, because now with your state's, well, even though, like, I'm not saying our governor of our state is doing that intentionally, but unwittingly he could be creating a scenario where everybody on the streets that recreational, that were, when they decriminalize, I'm not saying they're all bad, but now they're all voting for the politicians because they legalize all this, and they'll become, even if they're not outright thugs, everybody from the politician up to everybody socially, people in entire blocks on the street that are waiting for that to come, none of them have to give a fuck about you. None of them. And they got you by the balls. That's what they want, And I'm not even, like I said, I'm not even staying. Said in videos, I stick up for a little bit of everybody, and a little bit everybody hates me, but I'm the kind of person that, on certain circumstances, I don't want religion stuff shoved down my throat. And the people that want to legalize drugs, okay, they don't want religion shoved down their throat, but they think it's okay to shove the drugs down your throat and tell you, if you do not follow, if you decide you don't do any of the stuff and you don't need it, maybe when you get sick someday, when you're older, maybe you might need some of it. And that's okay. But they the people that don't want these people don't want religion shoved down their throat, and they want to do all the drugs they please. But yet they're hypocrites, no different than the religious hypocrites. How come they don't want certain religious beliefs shoved down their throats, just like me, but yet they think it's okay to shove their shit down your throat and then shame you for not doing it? You know what I'm saying?